Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, I'm getting ready to do some rigging to be able to lift some 12-inch, 30-foot long chunks of I-beam up for a mezzanine inside the barndominium, the upper kind of level or roof of the living space. Let's go over all of the stuff you're going to need, the jewelry as it's called, for rigging. Welcome to Man Time. Alright, so here's a quick peek at what we got going on the table, and the boom lift that I got for this set of forks. I was going to end up building one, and I was going to build one pretty much exactly like this. This does save me the trouble, but you can see there, you've actually got C-channel welded together to make, square, and then the same C-channel running across. I think we've got a 10-inch I-beam here, maybe an 8-inch, or it's going to be W-beam, and then of course the front posts here, and you can see the forks extend all the way to the very edge there. That's the end of that fork, and then it comes up, and then there's this kind of weird circular thing mounted onto it, but it does all look pretty good as far as like the welds and everything. Just kind of checked it over when I got it, to make sure all the welds looked good and everything looked, pretty good on it. So you saw there what we're standing in front of, right? I bought a boom that's going to stand off of the forks, and this is going to do tremendous amounts of effort because I was trying at one point to lift the I-beams with the forks just on the edge of the forks. It was not smart. It was not a good idea. It was not proper rigging, but I didn't have anything else, right? And I was like, actually was a certified rigger. I took a couple day course, got certified, all the different rigging, how to rig, what loads you want to put on different legs of stuff, different load techniques, and different rigging stuff, right? So I am certified, or was at one point. I'm sure it's something you have to get renewed annually or biannually or whatever, and mine of course is far out of service. But I did pick up a bunch of rigging stuff, right? There was an auction, and I can't remember if it was an auction or just a building estate sale type of thing. I think I ended up just offering, or I might have ended up bidding on a lot of just a bunch of rigging stuff, right? So I got a bunch of stuff. Let's go through kind of all of this stuff. I'm going to get you right in on the bench and go through everything you're going to need to do to go from your holding point to your load, and in this case through a spreader bar. So let's get right in here and see what we're working with. Okay, so first things first, on your boom, this is a jib boom, or just a jib, or just a boom, or whatever you'd like to call it there. They do sell these online. There's a couple different places where you can get them. I've seen them at, of course I got my adapter and forks from Titan, so I looked on there, but theirs was pretty pricey. I think it was around $1,500, maybe $2,000. They've got some from Grainger, of course, MSC, and Global Industrial was one that popped up that had one for, I think, just below $1,000, and that was shipped. So there's a bunch of different options out there if you've got the money for it. Luckily for me, somebody had one local, and I went and looked at it. It was listed for $300. I offered him $200, and Bob's your uncle. The thing is with these, you don't want to weld on anything. I was initially thinking about welding on like a shoulder eye bolt, cutting off the threads to the eye bolt, welding it, to the bottom of it, where you've got an eye then you can rig up to. I decided against that with the I-beams and the tractor wheels, being a pneumatic tired machine, and the hydraulics kind of being a little jerky. It's not going to be a static load. It's oftentimes going to be bouncing. So I wanted to go with something a little bit different, and I'm just going to use what's already here. And this piece of rigging right here This is 5/8 chain, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hook it on there, have the chain hanging out of the bottom, and then come in here with something like a 3 1/4 ton shackle, and then probably just go ahead and rig to this. Now the next thing is going from here to the spreader bar, and I think what's going to work well here is going to be this hook right here. So let's, looking what I was doing, trying to figure out where the camera was at. Okay, so here's kind of what I'm looking at. You've got this just hooked onto there, this going down through the bottom. Of course, this is going to be angled up, right? So it's going to be kind of hanging and going wherever it needs to go. And from here, I want to be able to use a spreader bar so I can have 2 connection points to that I-beam, so it's just not flopping around. Let's look at this spreader bar. So here is our spreader bar, and the plan is to hook the spreader bar up to this system that I've got there. We are going to talk about some of the different types of rigging implements here in just a second, but I just wanted to go through, first of all, like all of the rigging that I'm trying to do for the job that I need to do. And one thing you want to be really looking out for is inspection of your rigging equipment. That's one thing they teach. On some of these shackles here, they've got 45-degree marks, but they also have marks on them where you want to check for parallel of these ears. Oftentimes these ears, well, they're designed so these ears bend and flex before the shackle fails. But in this case, there's a big hard edge right in the middle of the spreader bar. So I'm going to grab my 1/4-inch die grinder and grind that nice and flat so there's no rough surfaces or edges that's going to be impeding as I'm going through this lifting. Next thing, I mean, this is a homemade spreader bar, and matter of fact, this was on my channel. I think I had a video called Chainsaws, Treasure, and I don't know, something else maybe. But this, I went to the Tractor Supply store, got this. I think this is a 1-inch clevis pin. Yeah, so I do need to clean up under there, but what's going to happen is something is going to hang down off of this clevis pin. So this clevis pin is going to come through here, and then something's going to connect around here and then go to a strap, a soft strap. Now I do have some of these, what's called a sling saver, but that is not going to work in this application. It has to hang, hang down far enough, and I don't think I'm going to have enough room for both the pin and the sling to come out of there. The other option would be maybe to grind out in here a little bit, and have some room for, well, maybe, yeah, that could possibly work. I've got just a little bit of room there. It's going to be nice to have the option to have both of these. Now the other part is going to be the load or the weight of the load that I'm going to be lifting. Let's talk about that a little bit as we look over some of this rigging equipment here, or the jewelry. Alright, well, let's look over some of the jewelry here. I think I've got this pretty well figured out with the hook there. One thing would be nice would be to have something, and I may have some safety wire or something going between here to hold it to this, which would be nice. You don't want to have anything loose on your rigging equipment. You want it to all be stable, and so if you let down, it's not going to disconnect. So I'll have something like some safety wire or something on there. But you got a bunch of different stuff here, right? You've got a D-ring, you've got another ring for some rigging. This would be in conjunction with like some chain type of rigging. You've got your standard hook ends that's going to have a clevis that'll go into some chain, some chain hooks. You've got what's called the sling saver. That's going to be a shackle made for a sling. Pretty nifty design there. You've got your chain shackles, which is going to have that chain type of design there. Your regular kind of clevis or shackle, and another chain shackle. The thing that sets the chain shackles apart is this U kind of design. You've got the small one and the big one there. what else do we got here? We got some turnbuckles. So you've got eyed turnbuckles, clevis turnbuckles, bunch of different configurations and sizes, you know, of course. The really neat thing about all this stuff, you know, the load rating on here is pretty incredible. Like for this little shackle here, this is a 1-ton shackle. It's got 1 ton right on there, 2,000 pounds for that little tiny 3/8, you know, shackle. It's amazing the weight rating on these. This one here, 6.5, and this hook that I'm going to be utilizing here, this one's going to be a 5-ton. The weight of the load that I'm lifting is under 1,000 pounds. I think it is 600. Let's see, 6 times 8, 48. Yeah, it's about 600 pounds, maybe a little less. So, I mean, I could get away with something that's a 1/2 ton, right? And so that is much smaller than this. What is this one? Yeah, this is a 3/4 ton. So this, 2 of these coming off the spreader bar would be enough to support the load of a 600 or even 800 pound load, right? The thing is, you want to have each side, since I'm using a spreader bar and I'm ultimately going to have 2 slings, you want to have either one of those slings be able to fully support the weight of the unit. In case it's just a little off center, you've got one, you know, really holding on to it. And I'm going to use soft slings, wrap it around there and choker them, so it's going to be cinched down onto it, so it's not going to be able to slide. So if it does kind of get off center a little bit, it's not going to start sliding out. So yeah, some really neat stuff here that I got at this auction. Pretty cool. Just a bunch of stuff, right? But thank God I've got what I need to do the job here. All right, man. Well, what do you think of my solution for rigging? Do you think this is stout enough? This is 3/8 heavy wall tubing. So it is, and it's fully, you know, welded all the way around there. Again, you really don't want to lift off something welded to a boom. But yeah, this is just it's a really good homemade boom. And again, if I was going to make something, I would make something pretty much exactly like this. I think it's going to be fine for what I need it to do. And of course, everything is way overrated for what I'm going to be lifting, doing it in this fashion here. Once again, I need to clean up the inside where this hook is going to attach to. It is going to sit so this is going to sit right in here, and again, I'm going to have to safety wire that on there so it's not going to come off. But it should work pretty good. Let me know down in the comments if you're rigging up something with a spreader bar. Have you used something similar? Does this look like a pretty good system I'm setting up? And if you're familiar with any of this jewelry, what have you used and what do you like to use? Anyways, that's going to do it for today on Man Time. You like this type of stuff, make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe. If not, do whatever you want to do. But whatever you do, get out there, have you some man time too.